Hello, my name is Angel from St. James by the Park Church, and I am so excited that you have decided to join me in putting on the Wonder Zone Summer Holiday Club here in Southampton. Yay! Thank you so much for joining me. I am really excited. And so today I'm going to go over some of the things we talked about in the induction this past Saturday. So if you were not there, this is for you. It won't be as long as that. It's a little bit briefer, but I do want to go over some of the important parts of that day. There are 4 things that I want to cover with you. The first thing is the aim. The second thing is how we will accomplish the aim. The third thing is the flow of the day. And the fourth thing is the safeguarding that you need to be aware of. The first thing is the aim of our holiday club. It is to provide an opportunity for children to make an initial or a further commitment to follow Jesus. It is so important that we remember that that is why we're doing it. That is why we've given up our mornings for this week. That is why we're going through all of the challenge of trying to organize and help. That is why you decided to step out and volunteer or to become a team member and to help out. It's for the kids to know Jesus. We will be serving kids who have not heard about Jesus at all and aren't familiar with the story, and we will be trying to make sure that they're learning about him and that they're growing in a desire to get to know him more. And for those who already know, we want them to learn even more and to continue to feed their faith. That's really important. The second thing is, how do we accomplish this aim? Well, it's a simple thing. Well, maybe easier said than done sometimes, but it's by being one. It's by showing unity. It's knowing that we are all working for the same thing. And so when we do that, we have to be kind to each other. We have to be encouraging. We have to, think of your brother or your sister as higher than yourself. It's by being patient. It's by working together and having fun, being able to laugh with one another. It's by showing love and generosity towards each other. Okay, number 3 is the flow. I want to go over the flow, and I have put up a diagram for you on the screen just so that you can see it. And so I'm going to leave that up there so that I'm able to talk through it with you. When we look at the program elements all together, this one is about not including the doing your research or the team preparation. If you look at the column that is highlighted in yellow or not yellow, blue, circled in blue, that is really the column that I want you to pay attention to the most, what it is. Because if you look to the left where you see title, then the title sometimes, because they use the language that is appropriate for the theme of the summer club, but sometimes it can be confusing. So I am going to use the what it is. So in the beginning, I expect the volunteers to be there about 8:15. The kids will be arriving at 9 o'clock to do their registration. So if we can be there at 8:15 to come in, make sure our area is set. If we have any questions, if we need to sort something out, we can do that. And then we would have time together. So they say about 30 minutes. It may or may not be that long, but when we first get there, then we would have time together as a team, and we will be going over the scriptures or the verses that they will be looking at for the day, and we'll be making sure that we understand and that we've had a chance to explore, because once we've thought about it and really been able to explore it, then it's easier for us to share that with the children. After that, at 9 o'clock, registration starts. You should be in, if you're working with small groups, you should be with the small groups. If you're someone who's registering the children, that's where you should be. Other members, other helpers will be in their areas as well, like those who are doing the refreshments might be in the Jacob's room or that reception area before you enter into the main sanctuary. And then those who are actually in the small groups would be in the small group waiting for the kids to come in. Their parents will bring them to you. We wanted to make sure that they did that. Let's see. When the kids then first arrive, you see that settling in and building relationships. So once the kids there, they'll be there for about 10 minutes, and that is when they will be making their own name badges. To wear. They have to have these badges on. They will also receive a t-shirt. And so we're encouraging them to wear the t-shirt daily, although it'll be a white t-shirt, it might get dirty. We're trying to encourage that. All of the small group leaders and all of the helpers will also have a t-shirt and will have a lanyard, which needs to be worn all the time. We will have someone at the door with security who will be making sure that no one enters that is not wearing a t-shirt and a lanyard. So do please make sure that you all have that. So when the kids first get there, within that 10 minutes, they will be creating their little badge, and they'll also be kind of getting a peek out of what the topic is for the day, like doing just a little small activity until it's time to all come together in that next section where it says welcome. So that's when you move into the middle of a space. I should probably pause. I'm going to pause and I'm going to switch it to the other. Actually, no, I'm just going to go and I'll show you that other picture later so that you'll understand. So when you then come in, when we do the welcome in the middle of the sanctuary out of your small groups, that time will be about 45 minutes. We will start off with just setting the scene, letting them know what they can expect for the day, and then we'll do some warm-up exercises like let's stand up, maybe touch your toes, maybe Simon Says or something, just to get them moving and warmed up, letting them know, okay, we're ready to go. And then after that, there'll be the theme song and maybe one or two more songs, just to sing a little bit, worship God. And then there will be an experiment that keeps with the theme for the day. And we have one of our leaders, small group leaders will come to the front to do that experiment, which will be linked to the little experiments that you do later, but I'll talk more on that later. So she will do the big experiment at the front. After that, then there's something there called the little post box, which this is an opportunity that on the first day I'll just be explaining to them like, oh, we have this, which ours will look like a big robot where they can put in a letter, they can put in a poem or a picture, whatever they want. And then the next day, that would be a time for me to share the things that were contributed into the post box. After that, we will hear the Bible story that we're thinking about for the day. It most likely will be like a little video or a dramatic read, but probably like a little video at that time. But that may shift. After that, we will do the theme song, the Wonder Zone theme song. And then it's time to go back into the small groups. The first amount of time in the small groups will be about 25 minutes. If you look there, it says group time. So you'll start, you'll come back. You may have time for the kids to go to the bathroom, especially the little ones. It will be a good time for them to maybe take a potty break. And then there will be refreshments. And then you will talk about the Bible story that was covered already. So it'll be a little Bible discovery time with a little bit of an activity. And then you will have time to have a little bit of prayer. So that will be about 25 minutes. The next portion of the time, labeled Get Exploring, this is when we have, there are only 3 listed there, but there are actually 4. So there's experiments, which is 1, construction and craft, that's the second one, and then games would be the 3rd one, and then I had to add a 4th one because we have 4 different small groups. So the 4th one would be, it's junk modeling, and junk modeling, or it's called Discovery. So Discovery Center junk modeling, where the kids kind of can go and choose what they would like to do, because the other activities, they really are told what it is that they have to do. Each one of those activities are 20 minutes long. This is where I'm going to show you the other picture, because this is kind of confusing if I'm just talking about it. So if we take a look at this picture, we can see the setup of the church. You see at the front, that's where the pulpit is. The pulpit or the stage is at the front, and then the baptistry is up there. And then by the sides of our sanctuary, beneath the balconies, there's space off to the sides. Well, on each side, I've divided that into two parts. One part represents a small group. So each part is a small group. So there are 4 small groups, and they would be situated around the edges of the sanctuary. In the middle of the sanctuary is when we all come together for the group time. Where everyone is together, not when you're in your small group, but when everybody is together. Small groups are off to the side. Now, this is really important. Try to follow with me. I'll try to explain the bit about the experiments and things. When it's time to get exploring, this is after the 25 minutes, after you've had your refreshments, reviewed the Bible story, and had prayer. They'll have time to do an experiment, have construction or craft, play games, or go into the discovery junk modeling area. The way that this will work is that within, I'm going to break it down and just talk about one of the small groups, because this will help you understand. So let's just take the first small group. I'm going to go over to the side with the junk modeling. There would be, for example, the leader and then 2 helpers with the leader. In the first session, one of the helpers would help that group do the junk modeling activity, which will only be for 20 minutes. That helper then, at the end of the 20 minutes, would stay in that area as the group then moved on to the next area. So it's an opportunity for that small group to see what another area looks like and to meet a different adult who will then lead them in a different activity, maybe science or, wherever you are in the flow of moving from group to group. But it's one of the helpers that remains. Do not worry about being that helper that remains. If I haven't asked if you would be willing to be that helper, then you don't have to worry about that. You would just be the helper that goes with the small group leader to the next activity. I hope that I've explained that pretty correctly. You just go around to each group until you end up back at your original group with your helper, with the helper or the leader that you first started off with. Most of those will be inside the sanctuary. The only one that will go out, as long as the weather is good, is the games section, because they will have games out on the Colebrook Green. Okay, so that would be each 20 minutes, or it kind of probably turns into 15 minutes after you've switched and then settled down and that type of thing. So 15 to 20 minutes. After that, after everyone has done all of those activities, we all meet back in the middle, and then we have a little video from a scientist, or talking about the scientist's point of view. We have a little fun quiz to see what it is they remember. Then we have a little drama. Some of the youth who are volunteering with us for the day will put on a little drama. Then we will work on the memory verse. We will all pray together, and then we just kind of wrap up the day. After we do a little wrap up of the day, then they are dismissed back into their small groups, back into those areas where they then wait for their parents to pick them up. This does go, stopping there, up to the 3 hours, which is what it's supposed to be, 9 to 12. When the parents come and pick them up, the parents have to come with a collection card that they received at the beginning in order to get their child. Now, the small group leader will have the information on that, so she will know, or yes, they're all women, will know and so that they'll be able to handle that. If they don't have the collection card, then they have to see me, and then I would help them deal with that or figure it out, calling the parents and make sure that everything is as it should be. There was one more thing that I was going to say about the collection card. I can't really remember, so I'm going to, hold on. About the collection card? Turn it. Yeah, if they don't have it, then I will see. Yeah, oh, and it's the leader that has to worry about it. The helpers, not so much. Just kind of watch the children as parents are coming. Oh, yeah, that's right. If the parent has indicated that someone else will collect the child, then that person, whoever they are coming, will have to show ID to be able to collect the child. And the leader will know who that person is and will be able to then verify. If there's an issue there, again, it would come to me, Angel. All right, and I think that is it. Yeah, the last bit there, it says the deacon's chamber. When we're clearing up, we will have a little debrief time and a little prayer time at the end. It probably wouldn't go 30 minutes, but you know, it's nice if everybody could come and kind of talk about any issues that they had. Okay, now I am going to move on, and now I am going to go to our next bit, which is the fourth bit, which is the final bit, safeguarding. Safeguarding. Because this would be online, I went through some of this when I saw the people on this past Saturday. And I'm going to hit the highlights with you guys, and I'm just going to ask to be sure that you read it. It's really, really important. The Wonder Zone helper handout, everyone received this. I did not read this with them. I just asked that they would read it just so that you know what the job description really is for that. But going on then to the Code of Safer Working Practice. I did actually read all of this to make sure that everyone really understood what we expected. I'm not going to read all of it here online sitting, but I am going to point out some things. I'm going to start off at the top, the Code of Safer Working Practice. You do have these documents attached to this email, so feel free to get them out and read through. The Code of Safer Working Practice expresses our commitment to demonstrating God's love by placing the highest priority on the safety of those whom we minister. It sets out what we expect from anyone who ministers in our church in both paid or voluntary roles, and is one of the ways we ensure high standards of safeguarding in all we do. And then upholding the code. All members of staff and volunteers are expected to report any breaches of this code to the parish safeguarding officer. Staff and volunteers who breach this code may be subjected to disciplinary procedures or asked to leave their role. Serious breaches may also result in a referral made to the relevant statutory agency. All of those working on behalf of the parish with children, young people, and adults must treat all individuals with respect and dignity, respect people's privacy, rights to personal privacy, ensure that their own language, tone of voice, and body language are respectful. Ensure that children, young people, and adults know who they can talk to about a personal concern. They must record and report any concerns about a child, young person, or adult and or behavior of another worker with their activity leader, that would be me, and or the parish safeguarding officer. All written records should be signed and dated. The person working must obtain written consent for any photographs, videos to be taken, shown, or displayed or stored. no one should be taking pictures. We will have someone there who will be taking the photos, or I will be taking the photos. So no one else should be taking photos of the children or any of the things that happen there, to protect the children. In addition, those working with children and young people, it seems like I'm reading the whole thing. I am. I just think it's so important. We must go through it. Those working with children and young people must always aim to work with or within sight of another adult. Ensure another adult is informed if a child needs to be taken to the toilet. I'm going to pause there because you need to know how we will be handling that. The 6 to 10-year-olds, they can raise their hand, and they will be able to go to the bathroom on their own, either maybe walk there with a helper or a youth, but generally that age on their own. The 3 to 5-year-olds, though, will go with a helper, probably one of the youth. If it's the group that doesn't have a youth, then one of the helpers will walk them to the bathroom, and they will wait there for them. This is to make sure that they do not, run off or anything like that. There will be a bathroom monitor there. So you're just waiting, or the helper would just be waiting. The child would go into the bathroom by themselves. We are not doing any wiping or any cleaning or anything like that. If the child calls out in distress, then we would stand by the door and just, speak into the bathroom. The bathroom is situated so that the toilets are around the corner, right? But so you can speak in and encourage them, okay, what do you need? And try to give direction that way. If there's been a huge disaster cleanup needed type of thing, this is something where we would contact the parents to have to come, unfortunately. But I would rather be safe than sorry. So that is what we're going to go with. If you have any questions about that, do please ask. There would only be, do please ask about that. Going on, respond warmly to a child who needs comforting, but make sure there are other adults around. Ensure that the child and parents are aware of any activity that requires physical contact and of its nature before the activity takes place, right? Most of our activities don't require any physical contact, really. Okay. All of those working on behalf of the parish with children and young people and adults must not, important, use any form of physical punishment, be sexually suggestive about or to an individual, ridicule an individual or group. We do not put people down. We want to create safe environments. We don't permit abusive peer activities, any ridiculing or bullying. None of that is acceptable. We don't show favoritism to any one individual or group. We don't want anyone feeling left out or unloved, as much as is in our power. We don't allow an individual to involve them in excessive attention seeking. Excuse me. We don't allow unknown adults access to children, young people and adults who may be vulnerable. Visitors should always be accompanied by an approved person. Again, everyone will have a t-shirt and a lanyard. The only time that there may be someone in there who is a visitor, not a part of the club, may be the day when we're talking about animals, and if we can find someone with a pet that they're able to bring in. I've gone against the dog and cat thing because you never know, how they may react. So, something like a hamster or gerbil or an iguana in a cage or something like that. That would be really great. We're still looking for that. So if you have a little pet that you might want to share, please let me know. Let's see. This next one may not be so relevant for us. Allowing strangers to give lifts to children or young people. We're not really engaging on social media with them either, but that is not permitted. And I've already said about the photos. For children, and down in that next part, in addition, for children and young people, we're not giving lifts. of the ones that we're supervising, that is a no-no. Smoking and drinking and arranging social occasions, those are all no-nos, but probably not relevant for what we're doing. Acceptable touch, sympathetic attention, encouragement, and appropriate physical contact are needed by children and adults. Some physical contact with children, particularly younger children, can be wholly appropriate. However, abusers can use touch that appears safe to normalize physical contact, which then becomes abusive. As a general rule, the use of touch between adults in positions of responsibility and those with whom they are working or volunteering should be initiated by the person themselves and kept to a minimum. In addition to this, always follow these guidelines. Ask for permission before you touch someone. Allow the other person to determine the degree of touch acceptable. Except in exceptional circumstances like needing medical attention. Avoid any physical contact that is or could be construed as sexual, abusive, or offensive. Keep everything public. A hug in the context of a group is very different from a hug behind closed doors. Touch should be in response to a person's needs and not related to the worker's needs. And touch should be age appropriate, welcome, and generally initiated by the child, not the worker. All right. Woo, that was a lot of reading. Okay, I hope you have been able to hang in there with me. I've covered everything that I wanted to, the aim. I've covered unity. I've talked about the flow. I've shown you the diagram. And we talked about safeguarding a bit. The last thing, which I said 4 things, so this is like 5, I forgot. The Bouncy Castle Day on Sunday. If you are a part of that, at 10 o'clock, families will arrive for the service, and the service will consist of the children being able to share what they've learned, songs, verses, stories, scripture, that type of thing. Will last about an hour, and then afterwards they will go out onto the Colebrook Green and enjoy a little bouncy castle fun. We'll have 2 bouncy castles, we'll have some games, we'll have some refreshment and face painting, so that will be fun. But I will speak to you individually if you're a part of that. There's a lower number, I think about 9 of us, who will be a part of that. And I think that is it. If you have any questions, do please let me know. All right. Let me just close this in prayer. Dear Father God, I thank you so much for your goodness. I thank you that you're with us. I thank you for each and every volunteer. I thank you for the person listening to this. It's been a little bit longer as an induction, but I'm so very appreciative of this person and all of the helpers who are part of the Wonder Zone Summer Holiday Club. And I just pray blessings upon each volunteer and helper, and for each child and family. We trust you to come and be a part of this, and to be glorified and lifted up, and to be exalted, and that we would do all that we could to be a part of what you are doing, because you are good and you can do so much more than we could ever think, hope, dream, or imagine. You are amazing and awesome, and we love you, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, thank you. I will be talking to you soon. Bye-bye.